All right, General David Petraeus, former CENTCOM commander and CIA director, joins us tonight to talk about all of this. And, sir, it's good to have you on the show. We appreciate it. I want to start with Iran clearly lashing out the last 24 hours or so, trying to create, I guess, enough chaos in the Persian Gulf and the Strait of Hormuz. They want $200 oil. They want to force the U.S. and Israel to back off. What is your assessment of how they're going about this and how successful they'll be at it?
Well, they do seem to have created a situation in which the shipping companies do not want to move their ships into harm's way if they can avoid it. Reportedly, about 7 ships have actually been hit in some fashion. The challenge is in a number of different areas. They have mines of different types, thousands of those actually, although a lot of the mine laying ships have been sunk already. Well over 60 ships now reportedly have been sunk. There are shorter range drones that could be problematic when you actually go through the strait. There are shorter range missiles that could be problematic. There are fast boats. There probably are still some mini subs left. Yeah. So this is a challenging situation. And I think one reason you're probably seeing the Gerald Ford, the USS Gerald Ford, the largest aircraft carrier in the world, and its task force making their way over to outside the Gulf instead of in the Eastern Mediterranean is to posture the forces that are needed in case they do need to begin escorting ships through the Gulf.
Right, and that's if they're going to actually do that, that'd be a big moment, a big decision that has to be made to do that, to go that far. We had a guest last night talking about the Strait of Hormuz, the Persian Gulf, saying that energy producers need to start upping their production in areas outside the Gulf to try and stabilize the oil markets, because that's the big vulnerability, right? The president is not going to want to see the economy tank, and I'm sure that's going to happen. Aside from that, though, as you look at this situation, you look at this area that's on the map here, is there anything that the United States can do in this moment to stabilize that region, the Gulf and the Strait? And how long do you think Iran can continue to keep this so chaotic?
Well, unfortunately, Iran only needs to do something every day, once or twice even, and there will be sufficient concern. Keep in mind, it's not about insurance for the boat. This is about losing people. And none of these shipping companies want to take that risk. And yes, there are some ways to get some of the oil out rather than through the Gulf. The Saudis, for example, put 5 million barrels that can go over to the Red Sea. The Emiratis have a way to push it down so that it comes out south of Oman. But these are small amounts out of the 20 million barrels a day that normally go out of the Gulf. That might account for 5.5 or 6 million barrels. So there's a very substantial deficit. The president's announcement of a release of a very, very substantial amount of the strategic reserve is going to be very helpful. The same with the release announced by all of the other countries. We're talking about 400 million barrels that will be released. But keep in mind, that's about 20 days supply out of the Gulf. And the president's release, the challenge there will be, can you actually ship it all? Can you tank it to where it needs to go? Sure. Because it's such an additional amount of oil that greater than what it is that we are currently pumping and shipping around the country. It's
going to be a big liability. We're moving towards an election in November. They're not going to want to see, $4 and $5 gas and such. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle this. It's what you said about the Gerald Ford moving into that region. We'll see where that goes. I want to get one more from you here before I let you go. U.S. intelligence report claiming that Iran's regime is not at risk of collapsing. What do you make of that? And can they continue to hold on as they're just being decimated by our forces?
Well, they are being decimated by our forces. Keep in mind that the achievement of our military objectives is really very substantial. The regime leaders, dozens killed. The air and missile defenses have been taken down. The missile launchers, the missile stockpiles, and the missile manufacturing factories and so forth being destroyed. Drones, still work to be done there in that area. They can be a bit more dispersed. The naval forces we've taken down, and then the regime forces in general. The problem is that these forces are largely dispersed, the individuals. It's about 1 million men with weapons at the end of the day, even after perhaps some thousands of them are killed. And they're still quite cohesive. What everyone is watching is to see, are there cracks
Right.
from within the regime forces as they see their country essentially destroyed around them. But also keep in mind that the new supreme leader, just like his father before him, is the kind of guy who believes that they win if he can shake his fist out of the rubble and the destruction around him and say that we survived.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge that you have here.
Yeah, it's really, 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 really tricky. I think we can clearly see that, the complications of this, the risk involved as they try and stabilize a part of the world that just doesn't want to be stable. General Petraeus, we appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Good to be with you, Rob. Thanks.
You know, everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt Tonight on Newsmax.